Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized.
Madam Secretary, can you feel the righteous indignation going on the other side right now? It's just kind of remarkable a little bit when you think about it. They talk about accountability and impeachment as for you and probably everybody in the admin should they ever gain control again, which is hopefully not. But the funny thing is, you know, accountability, why don't they own up to their own failures, right? Like we're sitting here for 4 years with a wide open border. The former ranking member, not the current one, but the former one said that we were imagining a border crisis. Do you think that we were ever imagining a border crisis, Madam Secretary?
No, not at all. In fact, we lost 4,000 lives because of that invasion, of people coming into the country and that mass invasion that we saw going on. And 30% of the young girls and women were raped during that invasion as well. They never speak of that.
And now
people who lost their lives
now we fast forward on
victimized.
On accountability, Madam Secretary. We talk about accountability. They're sitting over there not funding your department, right? In an active conflict on an international stage. We have members of the Coast Guard who are being fired on right now by the Iranian and their proxies, and they're not even getting paid for that. Is that right?
Well, we have one more paycheck ability in the Coast Guard to pay them, but they are choosing not to fund those individuals that are at war. So
correct.
We have doing extraordinary measures to take care of them and their families, but they have chosen to not fulfill their paychecks by not funding this.
And all the great people who work at TSA, all these folks, if they have private jets, I'm sure a few of them do, but most of us actually fly through regular airports and they go through TSA and those people have a smile on their face, greet them. They probably don't even say anything about funding them because they're just too scared about it. But like, these people are working tirelessly and they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
But they're still collecting a paycheck, I'm sure. They haven't foregone their pay. Yeah. So they talk about accountability and impeachment, all this stuff. I think the buck stops with them. I mean, they had the government for at least the first 2 years of the Biden administration and didn't do shit. And then we come and they yell at you and they get big mad and scream about you and impeachment, but they're not even doing the basic fundamentals of what they're supposed to do. Sorry, that was like a sidebar, but my gosh, like the righteous indignation and the hypocrisy is just alarming. I look at this, Secretary, and, you know, 10 million people under the last administration, encounters on the southwest border. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
About 10 million?
More.
8 million were entered, including 6 million released in the interior, 2 million gotaways. It could be more, obviously, right?
Yes.
For 45 consecutive months, the southwest border encounters exceeded 100,000 a month, 160,000, peaking at 15,000 a day. Do you remember what Jay Johnson, your many predecessors ago, said how many people it would be a crisis at the border if they were crossing per day? Do you remember that? I mean,
don't remember.
Jay Johnson, Democrat Department of Homeland Security Secretary under Obama, said 1,000. We were at 10,000 a day for the majority of the President Biden's term.
Right.
Isn't that all? So they halted construction of the border wall, right? They terminated the Remain in Mexico policy. They restrict ICE enforcement and expand mass parole programs. They support sanctuary jurisdictions, right?
They do.
When you stop deterrence, when you restrict removals, you do all these things, that kind of creates a pull factor to come to the country illegally, does it not?
It does.
Now,
they have sanctuary cities. Illegal aliens that come into this country know where they can go, where elected officials will protect them.
And now under President Trump and your agency, that has been reversed. What a difference, what a different day. You just needed a new president, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible what President Trump has done with partnering with mayors and governors who will work with us to lower murder rates, victimization, how they have made their streets safer, and their communities are growing, their economies are doing better. We would hope that every single city would see the benefits to working with President Trump.
Well, Madam Secretary, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the work that you do. I'm going to yield the remainder of my time to the chairman.
Oh, I thank the gentleman for yielding. Earlier, Madam Secretary, you said context is important. I think that is well said. And I understand there are investigations going on, and Democrats have brought up some tragic situations that have taken place, particularly in Minnesota. But I do think context is important. Have agents been doxxed? Have ICE agents been doxxed?
Yes.
Have ICE agents been harassed?
Yes.
Have ICE agents been physically attacked?
Yes.
Have ICE agents been screamed at?
Yeah, yes.
Have ICE agents been cursed at?
Yes, sir.
Not by the gentleman from South Carolina, but people on the street, yeah. Have ICE agents been spit on?
Yes, sir.
Have ICE agents been stalked, Have they been tracked online?
Yes, and they've had an 8,000% increase in death threats against them and their families.
I was getting to that. Have ICE agents' families been threatened? And have ICE agents had their pictures and addresses posted online?
Yes, they have.
I think context is important. And
Yeah,
we
it is.
want to keep that in mind as we go about with our oversight responsibilities.